I'm Ann Korologos here at the Ann Korologos Gallery, visiting with Dan Young, premier, well-known, nationally known landscape painter. We've been thrilled to represent for probably 20 years almost.
Over 20.
Is it over 20?
It's been over 20 years. Yeah.
And you came about landscape because you're a fisher person.
That had a lot to do with it. Yeah, it wasn't planned that way, but
What
absolutely.
happened? Did you start drawing as a child and
definitely.
decided to go fishing, and what happened?
Well, I grew up on the Roaring Fork River, and any child that grows up on the Roaring Fork River would learn how to fish. So that's how we spent our summers. And when I was fishing, I was observing nature and starting to draw a little bit, and the more I did it, it sort of became a purpose, if you will, to draw it and to catch a fish.
And the combination led you also to wanting to paint what's known as en plein air, outside with the landscape, not necessarily a photograph in the studio.
Oh, absolutely. And being an outdoor kid growing up outside in Colorado, I mean, when we were kids, summer, the door went open, mom said, get out, when the dinner bell rings, you come back.
Right.
Well, it was Colorado, so it was a perfect fit for me being an outside kid. That it was like a fish in water. I did great with it. It was just perfect for me.
Pardon the pun about the fish and water.
Well, of course, right.
But Dan, there's a different lack of control that also enhances, such as this, your work with light, weather, wind, rain comes.
Absolutely.
So what happens? I mean, you don't want necessarily a picture perfect day.
Well, exactly. You want to try to capture what's in front of you, and it's changing so fast. You have an hour to an hour and a half to catch the feel of that scene. The most successful paintings I have, even when I'm talking larger things, it's those ones that I get down, the stuff that says what I want to say, and I walk away. Outside, that takes an hour. Does it happen all the time? Unfortunately, no.
Now, expand on that. Says what you want it to say is based on your experience while you're there?
Well, absolutely.
And what you're seeing?
Yeah, exactly. And I have never been about details. When I'm out looking for a painting or something that inspires me, it's not about details. I'm not looking for the number of rocks, the number of leaves on the tree. I'm trying to capture the feel of that scene, whether it be the morning light reflecting off a pile of rocks, or that real washed out feeling, or a cold winter day, whatever it is. That's my real goal. The simpler I can say that, the stronger it's going to be as a painting.
Now, do your collectors, and we know many here, say to you, I've been there, you captured it, or do they say, I want to go, or do they say, where is that? What do they start to tell you about what you've really shown them and brought them into the painting to feel?
Well, absolutely. I hear that quite often. I mean, early, and still to this day, I do a lot of, for example, haystacks for that. And the number of collectors that have come to me and have said, I can smell the hay. It reminds me of my grandfather's farm or something.
That's great.
And for me, even though I did that painting, it really wasn't about hay. I was playing with the abstract quality of it, qualities of it that excited me. But it's very important when I get that sort of feedback. It means I got that feeling.
Well, you just used a word I want to probe. You and I have had this discussion over the years, and the word is abstract. You're a Western landscape painter, although I have seen works you've done in Laguna and elsewhere, beautifully, I might add. As a Western landscape painter, with the West becoming more and more contemporary, and with contemporary abstract painting becoming more popular, is there a move away toward a more contemporary Western interpretation than we've seen before? I'll go one more. Instead of a bronze horse, a ceramic abstract horse. It's still a horse, it's the West, it's a Western artist, but they're going off in a different direction. Now put your work in that context and where you're going to go from here.
Well, you're exactly right. I mean, and the market changes, it fluctuates back and forth, and it's exciting to me when I see it being expanded. As far as where I am, I have to paint what's true to me. I would love to be more abstract with my
Right.
work, and I'm trying to work in
that.
that direction, but it's almost comical in a way because I can start going way that way, halfway through the painting, I
come
seem
back.
to turn and come back to who I am.
Right.
But it's still, when I talk about abstract, I'm talking about the overall way I put the painting together. In other words,
Okay.
how I played with the shapes. I really want my work to have an abstract quality to it. I love strong abstract work. One of my favorites is Franz Kline. And I don't know if you're familiar, but it's very black and white and bold. If I could get that same feeling in what I do by how I arrange the shapes, I would be much more successful in my book.
Now that you mentioned, I know you do this a lot, you paint with a couple of buddies.
Yes, whenever I can.
Talk about the dynamics of a couple of painters expressing themselves together in the same location, maybe not exactly the same scene.
It's real good to feed my soul. 90% of the time I work by myself, whether it's outside or in my studio. I'm fighting my own demons, if you will. When I connect with an artist friend who we have this kindred spirit, if you will, this same drive. If I'm driving down the road with my wife and I go, oh, look at the color up in those clouds, and she'll go, whatever, they're gray, come on, we're in a hurry. When I say that to one of my artist friends, it's pull over, we got to get that, you know?
Yeah,
so we,
that's
in the
great.
ditch we go and we jump out and paint. And it's really fun if I'm with a group of 2 or 3 of us and we'll be driving and we'll see something, and we all see things different, but someone will see something, okay, I like, let's paint here. So we all will walk around, and a lot of times we'll paint the same scene. And it's so fun when it's said and done and you're looking at what everyone else did, and the colors and values will be very similar. The compositions or designs are all over the place, and it's so inspiring for me when I look at, for example, if I'm on the road with Skip Whitcomb, who's one of my heroes as far as I'm concerned, and I'll look to see what he did, and I'll go, darn it, why didn't I
think of that? Yeah.
And it's the same scene, but he's pulled out a little shadow and made a painting out of the abstract quality of that shadow. So it's really fun for me to see how other artists solve the same problems.
Then do you go and try and do that?
Oh, I may the next time, but
Yeah,
it's fun
it's
to
more
sit
of a-
around after that at night, have a glass of wine and talk shop.
Yeah.
And for Skip to say, you know, you're painting the obvious. Show me something I don't know. You feed off each
one
other.
another.
Yeah, and
that's
it's not a
great.
competition. It's about that camaraderie, if you will, of talking not only about paintings, but galleries, and, you know, we talk shop, if you will.
That's great.
So I try to do that whenever I can.
You were an illustrator earlier in your career. How did that happen, and how did that influence coming back to Colorado? I think it was Dallas.
Right.
And say, no, that was fine, that was a real job, and it used your art,
Right, absolutely.
but it wasn't Dan Young. It wasn't the free spirit of a true artist.
Well, exactly. I was given a project that it was somebody else's idea, someone else's concept. The plus of it is it helped my drawing skills, which is one of the most important things as an artist, being able to draw. I did real technical airbrush work. Like Radio Shack was one of my biggest clients, so I did a lot of their toy packaging where I was doing illustrations of little cars and things. Well, I learned how to draw. And that's probably, you know, one of the things that has really helped me once I made the shift to paint. But it's really nice now, I get to paint what I want to paint. The challenge is, when I was illustrating, there was somebody who was willing to pay me at the end of the process. And now
Different
I'm hoping
motivation.
when I get something, someone will, you know, appreciate it enough to purchase it.
Well, you know, that's interesting because now this is a little looser in style than painting behind me, because I think of you as rather detailed, which may be part of the drawing illustration background, and detailed too exquisitely, I might add. In fact, you know, I like more animals. Because I think you create scenes, you create life in your paintings. When there's the house and there's the animals outside, there's a little setting that somebody, at least I, would like to drive up to.
Can relate to.
Now, what about the red dot?
And that's something that sort of happened not intentionally. When I first started painting full time, I did a lot of the rural ranch scenes. That's Western Colorado. That was all around me. And I was out painting one day, a little farm scene, and there was a piece of red equipment. I don't even remember what it was. And I had just put a little fleck of red paint. I was going to start getting into, and I just touched it, and I thought, well, that's enough said.
Yeah.
It can be anything the viewer wants it to be.
You're right.
And it's something that I've always sort of strived for. When you talk about detail, I still want the viewer to be part of the process where they look at it and go, oh, that little dot could be a piece of tractor equipment, maybe it's a trash can, whatever. That to me is more exciting than painting every detail of a tractor. You know, let the viewer be part of that. So that's sort of where it evolved. That's where it started, and it sort of became a trademark, if you will.
What's ahead for Dan Young then in style, in subject matter, in technique, in continuing these kinds of discoveries? What's ahead for you, do you think?
That's always a tough question. I used to think there was a pat answer, well, I'm just going to get better. And I've sort of learned that I've still got to be more true to my heart, if you will. The thing I'm struggling with is I love my little drawings. I do thousands of drawings. Just ask my wife. They're on every envelope sitting around the table. She's afraid to throw anything away. It could be a masterpiece. But I draw all the time, and the ideas are always spinning in my head because I am trying to not so much make up things. I want to be based off nature, but I want them to be a painting that's come out of my head, if you will, that's based off something. These drawings really help me, and I love the abstract quality I can get in my drawing. I'm trying to bring that to my paintings.
That's great.
And I talk to a lot of artists. I mean, trying to figure out where I'm going to go with it. I really don't know, because like I said earlier, I start off on this path,
and then you come back to where you were.
Comes back out. And that's
well, you know, every artist has their whatever period. I guess Goya had his mad period. You're not going to have your mad period.
Well, hopefully not.
But you might.
That's how sales go.
But I'm thinking right now it's September in Colorado. There's no more exquisite time.
Oh, absolutely.
The colors are going to be phenomenal. And every year, those of us who are blessed to be here say, oh my gosh, it's better than last year. It's a whole nother experience. Will you be busier now in the next 4 to 6 weeks because of fall in Colorado, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the biggest struggles and blessings I have at the same time, because the fact that we have the changing seasons is wonderful, because by the time I've had enough summer or winter, whatever it was, the next season comes. The challenge is fall, which is one of my favorites, is one of the shortest. And it's such a timing thing when you're trying to hit that peak, if you will, whether it be the cottonwoods in the valley or the aspen trees, or when the aspen trees go and the snows at the same time. So it's such a crapshoot, but yeah, I mean, this is one of my favorite times, especially when we get that first snow, if there's color.
Well, Dan Young, thank you so much for visiting your gallery and our gallery here today. And we look forward to many, 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 many good shows ahead.
As do I.
Thank you.